Okay, but when I spawned in the weight block, which weighs 10, obviously that sank, right? So other components are more or less dense, right? So engines, motors, generators, batteries, and weapons all tend to be really dense. So as soon as you start putting engines and motors and generators and batteries onto your creations, then you're going to need to have more space, more water for it to float. Okay, you're going to need air or something else. Okay, and I say air because air's got no mass in Stormworks. So if you build a sealed compartment, it's a zero mass, so it's going to float a lot. Stormworks, however, though, Stormworks will assume that any non-enclosed volume can be filled with water. And I'll give you an example of that, right? If I can. Basically, you can't build open hulls in Stormworks. So if I was to delete this, and I was to put like a weight, let's say we put a weight block wall on here. Obviously, we know weight blocks don't float; they're heavy, they're too heavy, right? So let's just make these weight blocks. Okay, so if I was to do that, spawn that in, that's not going to float. The reason why it's not going to float is because it's got an open top here, and even if it was like super deep, like even if I did like the world's biggest wall there, it wouldn't even matter if I just took like normal blocks like this now and made like a really high wall. It still wouldn't float because the top's open. Basically, that's how Stormworks. It's a Stormworks thing. It's not like a real life thing. It's a Stormworks thing. So Stormworks recognizes this compartment here as being able to be filled with water, and it will fill it with water and it'll sink like so. But they all spawn in. But if we block that off, now it recognizes this as a contained area, so it's going to count all these air as 0. And if I didn't put enough weight blocks on, it should float now, just because we filled it up with blocks. It's really weird because we've actually added more blocks, but now it floats. But even if we had one hole in the roof, if I just put one hole in the roof there, it's going to sink, because Stormworks recognizes that as being able to be filled with water, like so. So you need to bear that in mind when you're building bigger ships. Okay, so air's got no mass, like I said. So the conventional open-topped hull designs, like a common rowboat for example, will instantly flood and sink if their hull is more dense than the water. The air below the waterline simply disappears. You can prevent this, okay, so you can actually build areas that you can go into. So for example, if I didn't have that hull, but I built here a hatch, like so, okay, and then I might need, do I need electric on that? No, I don't think. Okay, so now it will float because that hatch is obviously a sealed compartment. But the problem you have now, and this is what people don't realise, is because Stormworks recognises this when it's open as an unsealed place that it can fill with water. Even if this is above the waterline, as soon as I open that hatch, it will start taking on water. But the way it's designed, it'll take in less water. So if I open this is above the waterline, but it's going to start filling up with water regardless. Okay, see that? You can't really tell if it's filling up with water, but it will do. So then that's how you can kind of build floating ships, by using a hatch or a door, any closed sort of space. Obviously if that went below the water, then that would start flooding and taking in water as well, but at a slower rate. Okay, gaps. I've already explained gaps. Obviously as soon as I took out that one block, it flooded constantly. If there was any gaps in this, it would flood immediately. It would take on water. Unmerged sections, okay, and they look perfectly sealed in the builder, but actually in reality they're not. So that's how buoyancy works in the game. Lift. So if you're building an aeroplane, lift's a little bit different. Let me go into the builder. There is actually pre-built wings, which I can use as a demonstration. Okay, so these are pre-built wings. Right, so wings produce lift and force in a specific direction in Stormworks, okay? Not real life, just Stormworks. If you place wings upside down, so this is the correct way to place a wing if you're not using a custom wing. Okay, that's the correct way. If you put that upside down, then instead of your plane wanting to go up, your plane is going to go down and you're going to crash. And also because of a bug, wings and control surfaces that are placed on hinges, pivots or tracks, they don't produce lift or force at all if they're not on the same body. Like custom wings do not produce as much lift as these wings in the game, but the problem you have with these wings is if you wanted to put a fuel tank, if you wanted to build a fuel tank in the wing here, you can't, because this is just one block, right? But if I wanted to build a custom wing, so let's say for example let's say this bottom one was my wing. Okay, you can see now on my wing's see-through. Okay, I can put like a fuel tank in there. I can put some I can put anything I want inside this wing. Okay, but you can't do that with a custom wing. A custom wing is a solid block. If I delete that, I delete the entire wing. But if I delete one block here, it doesn't delete the entire wing. So I could make this a fuel tank if I wanted to. Usually you can compensate. If I use I'll just use this wedge for ease, but I'd probably use like a gradient one. You can usually compensate to get these custom wings to work. Control surfaces, so you got small control surfaces. Again, look, they use the number input, which I've already discussed. And you can use the throttle, or you can use the W and S key or an A and D key to control that. You've got medium control surfaces, which you can rotate to be flat as well. And obviously, for any bigger sort of planes, you've got larger control surfaces, like so, for custom wings. And then you can put anything you want in the wings. If I show you one of my, in fact not here, I can't. If I show you one of my designs quickly, if we fly over to the hangar over here, I can show you what you can do with custom wings. Okay, so home key, so I can fly through the door. Home key again. So I'm going to load up my plane. It's a big plane. So this has got custom wings. So you can see here, this is one of the planes I built, but if you look in the wings of this plane, you can see I've got an entire room inside the wings of this plane. Like, I've got a medical bay in the wing of this plane. Yep, I've got a little sort of rest area, I've got some beds, and that's all in the wings, because that's a custom wing. And the way I get this to fly is by using those control surfaces here on the top, and then obviously control surfaces here on the back for the yaw, and on the back for the pitch. So yeah. That's how lift works. Okay, we're nearly at the end. Hopefully you've got no questions and I covered a lot of stuff here. So mechanical power I didn't cover. You can get mechanical power. Obviously that's used to move vehicles, and it's created by different things. Okay, it can be created with engines. Engines create RPS, which creates power, and they can power wheels, for example. Let me spawn in something smaller. Okay, so if we look at this, for example, okay, so that needs RPS for power. You've got normal wheels, which create this drive like these. If you look in there, wherever it is, there it is. RPS power in, that would turn that wheel around. You've also got propellers for helicopters, so you've got loads of types of propellers. Okay, you've got rotor, you've got aircraft propeller. Okay, so if you wanted to make an helicopter, you bang RPS into that. If you don't want to build an engine, what you can do is you can use electrical engines. So diesel engines produce power. You've also got like electrical motors, which produce power as well. So if we connected up this right now, it'll probably take off and go flying somewhere, to be honest, but we'll give it a go. If we connected the throttle to our throttle lever down here, and we make sure that that's got power, yep, and then we connected, in fact that's all good to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into neutral so it doesn't fly off. We'll spawn that in. So instead of using an engine, what we're using there is we're using the electrical battery. That's not even the electrical battery spinning there, that's just the pivot. But if we turn this throttle lever up, you'll see now the electrical motor spinning that helicopter blade. But it's not flying off anywhere because we put the blades on neutral. Otherwise it probably would be flying right now. That's a tank helicopter. Why have we never built a tank helicopter? That might be a really great idea. We'll have to check it out. We'll have to check this out sometime. Tank helicopter, that could be a new build challenge. Alright, yeah, so mechanical power, as I tried to explain there, okay, mechanical power is what's used to move vehicles. It can be created by engines, the electrical motor, okay, and it can be consumed by wheels, propellers, rotors, generators, and just lights, electrical power in general. And again, you've got to use pipes to transport that. So if I wanted to build this engine over here, and I wanted it to power that propeller, then the only way I can get that power there, okay, is by using pipes. And the pipe recognizes what you're putting into it. You can't mix pipes, so I can't connect water using a T-junction to this pipe and expect it to work. It's not going to work. You only have one type of thing in one pipe. So I'm going to bring that round there, bring that round there. Okay, so that's all connected up with pipe. But see how that's different colour grids? Because they're on separate grids. So I've got to merge these together. Oh, that's because of the pivot, right? That's because of that pivot. So we're going to get rid of the pivot. But I need to merge all this together now. We also, nearly forgot, we also need to go back to logic. And we need to get the throttle connected to the throttle lever. And we need to give this electric from our battery. Okay. And that pipe there will push all the energy, or all the power from that electric motor across this pipe and then up into our propellers, like so. Okay, there's other points to note then. So if I go back into here and I turn this onto not neutral, okay, and I add more blades gives it more lift, okay, for propellers anyway. You can also make the blades longer and smaller here, different settings. If I spawn this in now and I put some throttle on, Okay, now you can see it's flying, yeah? But see how it's leaning to the back? It's leaning to the back because our center of mass isn't right. So you kind of need to know where your center of mass is going to be. Otherwise, if your center of mass is off like this and you want to build a helicopter, then basically what's going to happen is going to be really hard to control that helicopter, right? So you need to figure out, you need to get your center of mass correct. Now your center of mass is this purple square here. Okay, so if the middle of our creation is basically, you want, for a helicopter, you want that center of mass to be directly below your rotor. There's a couple of ways you can do this. We could move this battery to a different location, or if we have enough lift and we can afford to lose some more, we could add some weight blocks to the opposite side of our creation here to try and bring that center of mass into the right place. So if I add some weight blocks here, yes, it's going to make our vehicle heavier, but I only had the throttle on 50% then, so this should still fly. If not, then we'll have to look at moving the battery. Okay, so the center of mass now is here, and our rotor is here. So we just need to shift it a little bit more. Maybe if we add that might be nearly bang on. I probably might add like one more. Okay, now I'll spawn that in. Hopefully it's not too heavy now. We're pretty much nearly at the end of this. I think I've covered no, well, not everything, but I've covered a lot. So we're on doing center of mass now. We're going to turn the throttle up just a little bit at a time. So let's try 40%. Okay, so we're not flying at 40%. We're going to go 57. Okay, we're a little bit heavier this time. Let's go 77. Okay, I'll put it up to 100. We might be too heavy this time to show off that we're actually more central. Okay, we are. So we're going to look at moving the battery then. That's fine, no problem. What I can do is, let's take this weight off because we need to show that the center of mass works. Let's delete that battery and let's use some medium batteries. And let's make sure everything's got electric. Let's check our center of mass. So our center of mass now is slightly behind the rotor. What we're going to do is we'll just add like a little bit of weight. It's just something to be aware of when you're building. That's all. It's not like a real big issue. It's just you need to be aware of it when you're building helicopters, especially. But even aeroplanes, you know, if the center of mass isn't in the center of lift, then you're going to struggle controlling that aircraft. So we'll go up to 53 a little bit. That's 83, 100. It's probably losing power, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, there you go. It is what it is. It's not moving to one side now because it's center. Ah, good day. Thank you again for the raid last night. No, don't worry about it, dude. I just did a little tutorial for this game here. That's how center of mass works. There's one other thing I didn't cover, and it's trim. I'll try and explain how trim works now, actually, if I can. If you find, like, for our example then, it wasn't taking off. If you find that it kind of lacks power and you want a little bit more, then you can use the block I didn't cover, which is a gear. You got these little gearboxes here. If you put a gearbox on the correct way around, then it's going to basically increase the torque. And if you turn it the opposite way around, it's going to do the opposite effect. You need to play around with this, but we're going to add this the opposite. We're going to knock this up to 6.5. I'm also going to try and control this from the seat so I can show you how the trim works. So where's our seat? We're going to use A and D will be our left and right, which will be our, I'll just do that anyway just so I can show you how trim works. And pitch is going to be W and S. Roger. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to bang another throttle lever on just for this last test. This is the last thing we're going to cover, and it's just basically how this works. The trim, because people struggle with trim because, like, if your aircraft is out of control all the time or it's constantly spinning round in a circle, it's basically because you just need to trim it. So I'm going to connect this throttle lever up to our electrical engine. Curious, have you ever done any Kerbal? Yeah, I got Kerbal Space Program, dude. It's a really good game, Kerbal Space Program, actually. I wouldn't say like I'm a pro, but I do really enjoy building stuff in the game. I think we're good here. Let's spawn this in. So that's our throttle. This thing probably will fly maybe now, but let's just, like, did you see how it was spinning constantly to the left? Okay, that's because we don't have a tail rotor, right? But if you hold in the Alt button when you're in a vehicle, see how it's come up as trim on the bottom there? When you're holding in the Alt button, any control you put in now, it will save. So see how I'm moving that to the right? Now it's on 88 and it's going to stay there. If I move that to the left, then it's going to keep that trim. So if you do build a tail rotor on a helicopter, for example, we're going to set on fire and die. Don't worry, it's the end anyway. Alright, well, I might just jump out so I don't die. So any trim you put on, it'll save. So if you build a helicopter and it's like, and you take off and it's slowly drifting like this to the right, then just hold the Alt key, press your York button, whatever you set it to, slightly to the left, and then you'll be able to trim it so it goes straight. And that's how trim works in Stormworks. We'll probably get killed by these blades actually, so yeah, I don't think I can get the workbench without dying. Let's try. Nope, we're dead. Agree. I like messing around with it, and this with the building aspects kind of gave me those vibes. Dude, have you ever seen Stormworks before? Stormworks is amazing, dude, for building stuff. Like, you can build anything you want in this game. Like, anything. I can't. I need to try and get to the workbench, bear with me, without getting chopped up by those propellers. Ready? 3, 2, go. Okay, we've got it. So, let me show you something. Now we're finished. I kind of finished. That's kind of the end of the tutorial. I think I pretty much covered a lot of important stuff there. So what I'll do now is I'll show you one of my own creations. Why not? And I can show you kind of some of the stuff you can build on the rocks. And you're right, it is kind of like Stormworks. You can build like so much stuff. So this is all like my stuff that I've been building. I've been building this train recently, but one of the last big things I built was this airplane here. I'll show you this now. Let me just open up these hangar doors. I wanted to go for like a really unique design, so I decided to put loads of engines in the bottom here, just because why not, right? And then it was too big for the hangar, so I made the wings fold down like this so I could fold them back up later. And yeah, so every vehicle in this game is built by yourself or other players that you can download vehicles from the workshop. That button I might as well keep to the tutorial theme, so obviously that button is connected up to the pivots down here, which I connected to a numerical switch box, which just make that go up and down. These are all wedges. You've got decorative blocks like stairs as well that you can use. Loads of inventory items and stuff. I'm gonna climb up these ladders. So this, I'll give you a little tour. In fact, I'll go into the cockpit first, and then I'll give you a little tour of the plane. We'll taxi it outside the hangar, we'll take off, and then that'll be it. So I want to sit up here because this has got the lights. Alright, so the reason why I built this plane is because I wanted to do like a bit of research, like scientific research, but in the air, like a mobile air base. So this is just for passenger transport if we ever get loads of people on the server. I also wanted to make it like collect coal or gold ores and transport it, so that's why this area is kind of work in progress. And then sort of inventory area, supplies, jackets. Okay, we'll come up the ladder. This is my little passenger spot, so the guys can sit outside and they can see the wings from here. It's pretty cool. Downstairs is the engine, so this is like parachutes. I should actually put a hatch in the floor here. Thinking I should actually put a hatch in the floor here, like one of these hatches, because you've got parachutes there. And it makes sense that if I had hatches on the floor here, then if there's an emergency, people can be like, hatch, boom, drop out. I think I need to add hatches here, so then you can have like a parachute jump. Definitely 100%. Dude, you die. No, I didn't die. I'm good. So that's just engine maintenance. You don't want to go in there when they're switched on. That's like a pure death. And this is like the engine room. Oh, and the armory. This is the armory. There's guns in this game. Right, okay, let's go upstairs, start this beast. I'll show you the next. So like I said, it was meant to be a research plane, right? So up here, oh yeah, that's just a camera feed. So in my tutorial I said you just link the camera up to the display. That's all I've done there, so they can see the front of the plane when they're sat down here. You come up here. This is all my logic. So all my logic and stuff is hidden up in the roof. So that's the gyroscope up there. You got all the numerical switch blocks, switch boxes. You got the inverters. Everything's hidden in the roof here. This is my research area for conducting all my little research. So I've got my clock, my fog levels, my rain, my altitude, my compass sensor, my air temperature, my GPS coordinates. Yeah. I've got everything down here. Time, air temperature. I've got my PC. There it is. So this is actually a drone control station. So it's switched off at the moment because there's nothing spawned in. In fact, so Barty got his vehicle spawned in. Okay, and then in the wings actually. So in the wings I've got rooms as well. I've got rooms in the wings. So I've got some beds in the wings. And I've got a medical bay in the wing here. You're probably wondering where the fuel tank is. How many hours did it take? Oh, to build this? I think it took me about 2 weeks, but that was like on and off, you know, like I wasn't playing it constantly for 2 weeks. But this is the fuel tank here. I'm actually stood on the fuel tank, so the fuel tank's quite big for this. Basically that's the fuel tank there. But let's go start it up, man. You should see this thing fly. It's quite nice. It took me a long time to get the autopilot sorted out. I do have a map display here. This has a working radar, so if I just set this up, I get the radar on. So the radar works on this, and it connects also Okay, we need to go now. There's an emergency coming, like a tsunami or something. So we're gonna start it up. That's gonna kick these big engines in. Alright, turn that off, get a bit of power on. There's like a tsunami coming or something, I don't know what it is until we get outside. Okay, the wings are clear. We're gonna unfold the wings. The wings are unfolding. It might be a tsunami. I can't see. Oh, it's a tornado. Yeah, I think that's a no, it's not a tornado. What is it? What's coming? We need to take off regardless. Oh, it's a tsunami. We need to go. We need to go. It's a tsunami. I hope this works. It's not a big runway. Oh, dude, we did it. Alright, look. Yeah, there was a tsunami coming, look. So it was actually quite good we took off as quick as we did. So there's a tsunami straight ahead. That was pretty much about to wipe us out right there. That was lucky. So yeah, welcome to Stormworks. Not bad, we survived. So this does actually have an autopilot. Would that have actually reached the hangar? I'm just going to check. The wheels are going up now, look. Yeah, that took us out, look. This part reminds me of City Skylines, natural disasters. Yeah. Right, so let's find out. There's some other people in the server somewhere. Where are they? Oh, they're actually down there in the hangar. Where's everybody else? So yeah, it has an autopilot. So oh yeah, the map. I didn't even show you the map. So we're just on this little bit here, right? So there's all this down here, which is all like desert, and this place is massive down here. And then you've also got the Arctic, which is all the way up here as well. So it's pretty large, pretty nice actually. So I did set a waypoint on the map. Oh, hello. So I'm going to put that into the plane and then turn that on. Oh no, you just turned my power off. Why are we losing power? What's going on? Uh-oh. What the heck? That's why. Sabotage. He sabotaged my plane. I saw him. He had an umbrella on his head. Alright, 200 altitude. Turn that on. Let's go 300 altitude. Oh no, let's go 250. Okay, no, it'll just fly itself now, pretty much. Let's find that saboteur. Someone tried taking my plane out. Right, let's lower the throttle down. Who's that? He's got one eye. That's Ben. No, it's not. Who's that? I'm not in a VC. One sec. I need to jump in a VC. Okay, now I'm in a VC. Alright, who's that? Is that Robotti or Ben?
I'm in a plane.
Is that you in front of me? Are you on the plane?
Yep.
Okay, that's you. Cool. Oh shit. Pull up to the mountain right in front of us. Alright, fly over the volcano, dude. We'll oh, you can't turn yet. One sec. Now you can turn. Press number 2, Robotti. Turns gyro off. There you go. Fly over the volcano, it's about to erupt.
I'm not flying the plane.
You are flying it, are you?
No, I'm in front of you.
Oh, who's flying the plane? That must be Ben.
It's Ben. Yeah.
Oh, the volcano's erupting, so he needs to watch out. Holy shit, Ben. You're not meant to be flying straight towards it, dude. Ben, turn.
Oh no.
He didn't.
I'm dead.
Everyone's dead. It was Ben wearing the umbrella hat. Uh-oh. No, we're good. Alright, that's pretty much like...